Howdy everyone, Nimby here. Today we're going to be tying the Dark Caddis Pupa. This one is a pattern that's not fished terribly commonly because, as the name would suggest, it's fished in the dark or in dusk and just before dawn. This type of caddis pupa comes out just before dusk and does all of its emergence during the nighttime when fish are feeding on them, and then they kind of finish up and hide once light shows up. But if you're out in the evening or early morning and there's one of these hatches on, it's good to have one of these patterns handy. Okay, to start off with for our tying thread, we're going to be using a 6/0 in rust brown uni thread. It's a wonderful color for nymphs and especially October kind of caddis style nymphs. And after you put the head cement on it, it has a really nice dark burnt orange color to it. Now it's just close enough to all the materials that it's not going to stand out or blend in too much either. I'm just going to do a thread base right up to the barb there. Warning! Who we got here? Hey, Muddy Waters, good to see you in, mate. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Good to have you. Yes, Stream Elements bot. One day I will actually set you up properly. And for the rib, we're going to be using Camel Uniflex. It's a new roll, so just let me dig her out here. Get off enough for a couple flies. This is just a flexible burp, burp. Brain's not working with the name thing. It's a flexible floss, flexi floss. That's the word I'm looking for, flexi floss. Morning, Ewas. Good to have you in, mate. Just tying it in as this will be our rib. And I'm going to tie it in the kind of working length of the body here. Oh, and this is tied on what are we using, 10? Yeah, this is tied traditionally from a 10 to a 8 standard size, standard weight. So I'm going to be using these vintage Mustang hooks for this guy. This is an older pattern. It was originally tied in where's my notes here? Looks like 1942 by E.H. Pauley in Oregon. Yeah, it's to represent the caddis hatch that happens at nighttime and starts in dusk and then goes till dawn. Hence it's called a dark caddis. Slightly different than your October caddis, because they have a very short lifespan. But if this hatch is going off in your area, it's great to have this pattern in your box. I'm using this overly woolly mohair leech yarn. Sorry guys, my material's just catching on everything today. Okay, there we go. 100% mohair leech yarn. I got lots of mohair leech yarn, but this is the only stuff I have in like a orange. It's a little darker than I like. The traditional pattern, all the pictures I've seen of it, is more of a pinky orange than a burnt orange, but this is what I got, so we're going with it. But I think as long as your rib is one color or the other different, so either you have a lighter rib or a darker rib, it's going to kind of end up having the same effect. Just going to clean this off for a tie-in point here a little bit. And traditional pattern calls for a slight taper on the body, so thicker to the head, thinner to the butt. We're going to try and accomplish that as well. There. Just trimming off some of the fuzzy bits. I'm going to be wrapping this in from the back to the front and then back to the back end. That'll just help to tame some of those crazy fibers down a little bit. Not that it matters because the whole thing's going to be poofy in a minute. It just makes the tying in part a little easier. This first one I'm going to do is just going to be the traditional pattern, which is very simple, and then I'm going to play with the pattern a bit, and we're going to be adding a cap to it with the traditional swish straw. This is like the actual Rafari old school from the 70s swish straw. Really hard to come by now, but it sure makes them look buggy. And it's fairly durable for what it is. Now we're also going to be using this dyed orange grizzly hackle. Sorry, my brain is just not coming up with the words to say. I'll kickstart it with some tea. Oh, that's better. Alright, so for this pattern is pretty simple. It doesn't have really a thorax or anything crazy going on. It's just simply a tapered body with a rib, a beard, and a top kind of a top wing with that dyed grizzly hackle. It didn't go where I wanted it to. There we go. Just doing 2 half hitches so we can stick that in our bobbin holder here. Get the rotary going. That'll free up my hand a bit. I'm not sure how puffy this is going to be, but we're going to be tapering it down with that. We're going to be tapering it down with that rib anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Try and keep most of it to the rear. Okay, so we're up to the tying point, and we're going to back up just 1 wrap, get that little thorax bump, and then back again. There we go, that'll work. Actually wrapped substantially quicker than I was expecting it. this day. This would probably make great woolly bugger body. It's really foofy. Foofy. Thinking just looking at it now, I probably should have backed that thorax up a hair so I had a little more working room with the beard and the underwing, but we'll make it work. Okay, I'm just gonna trim off. Some of this is going a bit crazy up here, so we're just gonna get rid of the really long stuff. I have a feeling that's gonna shed off anyway. There we go. Yeah, these are just emerger nymphs, so nothing crazy. Counter wrap this. I'm just gonna do this manually here. I'm gonna go for a little bit of a tighter rib to bend down some of the poofy fiber. So we end up with like a more segmented body look. More coffee. There's a really big poof up front here. I'm just gonna ditch that. Hey Dusty, good to have you in, mate. Oh no. Yeah. I guess I was pulling a little too hard on that. We'll try that again here. Should be able to crank it in. That's the downside with this, or any elasticy wrap, is if you pull too hard on it after you cut it, it can just slip under your wrap, like it did. We'll just go with a slightly looser, a little more spread out segmentation, and we'll be good to go. That's probably what I should be doing anyway. Yeah, that'll work. Beauty. Alright, let's get some of these hackles up. Oh, this one looks nice. If you don't have this bright orange dyed grizzly hackle, which probably a lot of people don't, You can make it yourself quite easily with some orange Kool-Aid packets. That's what those are dyed from. And if you don't have that, you can just get yourself a nice orange colored rooster cape and use that too. Be just fine. If you don't have that, then I guess you can use just your regular standard, red rooster hackle. Barring that, even an orange Sharpie marker and some regular grizzly hackle will make short work of that too. But yeah, you can tell you get like a brilliant, just awesome orange from the Kool-Aid. It's quick, it's cheap, it's non-toxic. There's lots of benefits to it. Okay, I think I'm actually going to tie in my beard first here. They're just fighting with the barbs, trying to get them all roughly the same length. There we go. Yeah, this is beautiful. Exactly. You get a lunchtime drink with it for the children. Always thinking of the children. I'm just thinning it out a hair here, getting some of the longer stuff out. I want the beard to be crazy big. There we go. I like to have my beards kind of just right up to the point, to the hook point. I get 3 good wraps on this. There we be. I'm gonna tie back the hackle butt ends here and then cut them off. That'll make them a little more secure. In hindsight, and we don't let go of them, you want to hang on to them. In hindsight, it would have left me quite a bit more room in the head area there that I did not do. But it's just the first one of this pattern. Like I said, we're going to play with it after. There we go, that's a nice little orange beard. Happy with that. Let's get a decent sized wing out of this too. Need my hair stacker. Of course, I dropped my feather. 1 second. See if it survived all the cat hair. Yeah, it looks okay. I'm getting about 3 bunches together. Each of them about the size of the hook gap. This hackle's nice and stiff, but it's fairly on the thin side, but it has this wonderful translucent look. No worries. I should have another drink of tea as well, thanks for the reminder. Mmm. Good. Yeah, I try to get some decent music in that's copyright friendly. It's not easy all the time, to be honest, though. I think my current playlist has like 558 songs in it or so. So we get a nice mix. A little bit of rock, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of techno, a little bit of everything. I just try and keep a chill vibe with it. It's more to do with the aesthetics and feeling of it than anything else. Alright, so I'm going to have this going just a little bit past the butt there. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, like I said, in hindsight, I'll give myself a whole lot more room for that head. I wasn't expecting that mohair yarn to be so thick. I was expecting it to kind of crunch down, but it's a lot denser than I was expecting it to be. Probably because I don't think it's a traditional proper mohair like a wool. I think it's a synthetic. But it looks cool. Makes a nice buggy body. Just made my head ridiculously big. That's good. Still fishable. We won't judge you for being ugly. Yeah, in hindsight, I would have done like at least a bobbin width back or more. It's a buggy little thing. Like I'm kind of happy with that. Like I said, besides the head being just a hair thick. Get some whip finishes on there and some head smoke. I don't mind a thick head on my nymphs. It just went thicker than I was planning on. But lesson learned, I gotta thin that out. That mohair. Most of the other mohair, I got gobs of this Fly Shack brand mohair, but most of the other stuff I have is traditional, like a marine wool kind of mohair. Okay, get some hackle cement, or head cement. Morning, Jack Pepper. Thank you. Yeah, it's an old nymph pattern for fishing at dawn and dusk for the October caddis hatch. There's a, well, it's not an October caddis, but it is fished in the fall. It's a slightly different type of caddis variety where most of its life cycle happens at nighttime. It starts to emerge right at dusk and finishes before dawn. Then they hide again. So that's why it's called a Dark Caddis Pupa. But very similar to October caddis because it's fished in the fall and has a very similar life cycle, just doesn't get as big. Not as famous because most people don't fish at night. But if you're fishing in the early evening or early morning, it's a great idea to have a couple of them in your box. I don't know if I should bother picking out all the little hairs or not, or I'll be here all day. One nice thing about mohair is it's buggy. The other bad thing about mohair is it's buggy. Alright. This one's 10. Oh, wait, what am I tying on here? Yeah. Mustang size 10. This is a vintage 70s. Yeah, no, they work really good. Like, even if you're not fishing in the evening, fish are gonna key in on it because they're just familiar with it being a bug in the water. And I'm sure there's rogues and outliers that come up at odd times and they'll nail it. So that's the Dark Caddis Pupa. It was originally tied and created by A.H. Pauley Rosberg in Coquitlam, Washington, or Oregon, sorry. And it's got a widespread hatching area from around the 1st of August to freeze up, and it emerges from sundown to dusk, and it leaves its cases at the bottom and then wiggles up and emerges, and the fish generally feed on it more around the surface as they come up. But they start being available at the bottom, so you can fish it as a sinking tip. But most of the feeding is going to happen at the surface as they're struggling to emerge and get their wings going and everything. Thanks, Jack. Glad you like her. We're gonna do some different variations. This is the original pattern, which is very simple. Just a beard and overwing, mohair body, and what had traditionally been like a floss. I don't have the right kind of material for that, so we're using the Uniflexi floss and camel, which serves the purpose. But they would have been using like a silk, but I don't have anything in that kind of burnt umber orange color. Everything I have is more for salmon flies in the yellow and bright orange variety. But I'll keep my eye open. So I'll try another one here. I'd like to try one, but it doesn't give me a whole lot of working room. But I'd like to try one with a bit of a thorax cap by the head. That doesn't give me a lot of working room, but we might play with that idea. Okay, so yeah, now we're going off the books and we're gonna just try some stuff. I think any variation on this pattern is gonna work really well around that time of year in the fall here. It's kind of burnt orange to brown to coffee brown. All those colors work really good in the fall. Everything's a lot more muted. It's more, it's the right word for it, mature in its life cycle typically. So you're gonna get a lot darker colors. As Jack said, this orange color, they just key in on it and just nail it. Okay, no tail on this one though. Well, heck, why not? Let's just throw in a couple fibers for a tail here, why not? We'll use the same, see if I got a smaller feather here, but we'll use the same grizzly hackle. See if I got anything smaller we can use for tail. Well, there's a badger mixed in here. I'm not sure how he slipped in. We'll use that. I'll give it some badger fibers. But yeah, you can see the lovely, like, almost transparent or translucent quality to these. And yeah, that's just Kool-Aid, just orange Kool-Aid, and it stays on there real well. If you're worried about it washing out or anything, it doesn't. It doesn't get on your hands either after it's set. You can do a quick vinegar bath after to set it even better, but I've never found that it's necessary. Just make sure you take the time to set it in right, that's all. Just cleaning this up here. Get some tail fibers for us. I'm gonna go for this kind of dark orange side here. Yeah, that's probably enough right there, I think. And nymphs definitely don't have to have tails, but I find, really with any nymph I'm fishing, I'll do the length of the body, they're always more productive with a tail. I think it has more to do with water movement and the fish keying in on that than the actual look of the tail. I want it to flare out just a hair. Come on, buddy, behave yourself. There we go. That's nice like that. That's perfect. I just wanted that. Hopefully it'll pick up on the camera because it's kind of thin there. You can see it's just flared out, kind of flat, like a fanned out. I like that for my nose. Again, it's more to do with it moving water, because the nymphs will move by jetting water behind them and basically pushing themselves forward like a little jet boat. And we're gonna give ourselves a good amount of room for that head this time. Where did my rib go? I already had some cut. There we are. I'm gonna use the same rib. Yeah, it could be. It'd be really cool if we could talk to fish and be like, hey, why'd you bite that? And they'd be like, I don't know, it was a horrible idea, so I'm never gonna do it again. But yeah, it's like, if I'm fishing two nymphs, or say like after a while the tail gets trashed, um, especially with a split tail like a goose quill or what have you, split tail. The numbers drop significantly once the tail's trashed. Sorry, bumped camera there. Alright, but we added a tail this time, so like I said, we're gonna go off book here, and I'm gonna just add some stuff that feels right to me. And I'm gonna thin out this. That's a clump on the end there. I'm gonna try and clean that up a little bit first. Okay, so this definitely is a spun mohair. I can see the 4 strands once I pull it apart. I still think the spun part is, like all the fuzzy bits, I still think that's like an acrylic or something, because it does not bind down at all. This would make great woolly bugger body though. I haven't tied woolly bugger in a while. I should actually get some done up. Okay. So, trying to think of my attack on the, I think we'll go up to... Hey, Robert. I'm sorry you got morning floods to deal with. 5 research lab flooded, geez. Hopefully it's not toilet flood and it's just water flood. That's a lot better to clean up. I'm sorry, mate. We'll be here if you get any free time. Yeah, hopefully that's just a sink leak or something, because that sounds kind of nasty. And I've had my share of water stuff this last week here. I had to do our well stop working. I had to deal with that. Okay, I'm thinking I really want to work a thorax cap, and I'm just not sure if I want to do that. Should probably do it like right here. Yeah, let's do that right here. I'm gonna use some, I think I got some nice burnt orange dubbing that would work really well for this, and we'll dub that in for thorax and try and get a wing case over top of that. That'll work well. I don't think I have any burnt orange, not to go terribly far off the pattern, but like a dark burnt orange deer or elk hair would make a really cool little wing on this too. Okay, so let's get some of this in there. This stuff is so cool. I wish you could still find this stuff. I'm sure you could somewhere, maybe in craft stores. I haven't seen it in a long time though. This is like your actual traditional Swiss straw before they made everything synthetic. I'm not going to need a very, very thick piece though. There we go. Hey, wee man. Good to have my Ireland friends in. It's wet here, but not windy, thankfully. But wet it is. definitely. Okay, so I'm going to tie this in. This is just a strand. It's basically a type of grass is what it is. It's like if you're familiar with rattan furniture, it's the same plant, it's just the grass end of the rattan plant. So it's extremely strong stuff for what it is, for a piece of grass. Not that it won't break or anything, it definitely will. It's still a natural fiber. But for what it is, it's incredibly tough. Okay, so I got that tied in. 1 second, let me get my dubbing box here. I think I got some. One of many dubbing boxes. There we go. So I got this nice burnt orange color. I think we'll go for the lighter. Oh, I'm sure you could. I got this dyed in like, I don't know, 20 or something different colors already with like proper RIT dye. You know what, I'm looking at this now. That's probably a bit light, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this. Where's my pokey tool? Yeah, if you have a dubbing box like these, I know they're really common for people to make. An easy way to get it out is just get a really small crochet hook. Then you can dig in there, spin it around, it'll catch some fibers and just pull you out a little chunk. Yeah, it used to be extremely common in the 40s, 40s, 50s, and then when the 60s came around, synthetics like rayon and stuff like that came up, and that's where you had the synthetic Swiss straw that we're more familiar with now. So I'm just going to be mixing. This is going to be way more than I need there, but I'm going to mix some of this lighter brown, which is closer to the body color, and this orange together, and I think that'll give us kind of the color I'm shooting for. So give me just a minute here to mix that up. This will probably be enough to do like 6 or 7 flies here, but the nice thing about dubbing is it's cheap and I got lots of it. This is a vintage sparkle yarn, is the orange variety, which I like to use for my stimulators, my October caddises, and lots of different stuff in the fall. The other one is a, what are you? I think you're wool. Are you synthetic? You feel and look like a synthetic. Maybe you are. Okay, we don't know what the other one is. It's just a brown yarn that I busted up. Oh, I think that came, yeah, no, that was a synthetic yarn that came with a rabbit vest, a vest that was full of rabbit pelts, and I took the rabbit pelts all apart and made dubbing and different stuff out of them, and then took the yarn and busted that up and made dubbing out of that too. Waste not, want not. So, I'm just mixing this up, tearing it back apart. I heard someone talking about the seal fur price just going through the roof. I don't use it a whole lot. I definitely have a good chunk of it. I got lots of seal fur dubbins. Do I have any in this container? No, I got a few. This bright green is a seal fur polar bear mix that I use for the steelhead flies and some nymphs. It catches the light real well. Alright, so we got our big old Pufa dub in there. I'll get some wax on here. Gonna be using the Wapsi Premium Tacky Wax. If you don't have that, glue stick works really good too, actually. Or even a chapstick. You're just adding a little bit of moisture and some tack to the line to help you knot everything up. I find this stuff actually keeps it not necessarily buoyant, but helps it shed water as well, which is a nice feature. don't necessarily think it's intended, but it just is what it is. I don't think we're gonna need a whole lot because we're just doing a tiny thorax section. I probably got twice as much as I need on there, but we'll spin it up and see how we do. I'm guessing I'm gonna be pulling off. Yeah, I'm gonna pull off at least half of that. I got way too much on there. Hey, thanks for the new subscriber. Appreciate that, mate. We're in here most mornings and occasional evenings. Trying to get away from the evening tying, even though I enjoy tying more in the evening. Morning I could be a little more consistent, that's all. Okay, so we're going to wrap this. That'll give us a contrasting thorax, which is kind of what I'm going for. I want it to be close, but just a slightly different color. And bulbous. I think that's exactly what we ended up with. That's perfect. Cool. Okay. So before, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. I want it just to be a hair off the body color. Lighter or darker, doesn't matter, as long as you have a contrast. Technically, the thorax undersides are always going to be on the lighter side from where the legs connect. So the lighter is better, but it really don't matter as long as you got a contrast there. Now we're going to throw some legs in. I'm going to stick with the yeah, I try to get all my, well, almost all my furs are vintage, so that's before all that. And I try to get it from local native families. I'm just going to throw some legs in there. But yeah, thankfully in Canada I got lots of ethical places to source materials from. That'll do. I'm not going to bother folding these ones back, so we're going to tie the wing on top of it and the wing case, so it should be pinned down more than enough to keep it in place. But yeah, I'm sure that affects the price. As much as I like natural materials, to be honest, besides there are a few qualities of there's a few qualities of seal that aren't easily reproduced with synthetics, but the majority of the reason that we're using seal can be reproduced with synthetics quite well. So, like any of these sparkle yarns, antrons, things like that, cut up and dubbed up, are very similar. Anything with like a UV flash in it. Alright, so I'll do this cap over top. Error, I forgot the rib, really? Okay, I got too excited with the cap, so we'll just get the rib in there and we'll scoot it along the top. 1 second here. That's the best way to do this now. Just give me a second while I try to recover from my mistake. If there's one thing I forget on a fly, it's the rib, and I don't know why. I tend to just completely mentally bypass it. Even though it's probably one of my favorite parts to tie in, because it makes such a nice change in the fly next to like a thorax cap. For whatever reason, my brain just goes bloop and blanks out sometimes when it comes to tying in the rib. Okay. So we just brought our thread up through the middle there of the top of the thorax because we're not going to see that anyway. And this little spot here that we're tying into is going to get hidden from the thorax cap going off. So in theory, that should hide our boo-boo. It's going to give me a little bit of a thread collar there, but nothing that I think is going to stand out. Okay, same thing, we'll go over. 3 wraps, kind of lock it in. Good deal. That'll do. You can see it gave me a little bit of a thread collar. I could have probably been a little more cautious of that, but I don't think it's going to impede the pattern at all. Yeah, and you get it there, and you're like, ugh. And then it's gonna bug you forever. And again with this stuff is there's synthetics that, you know, work just as well or better because they're synthetic and they're not gonna break or bend off or bleed, but for my money it's cool. It just adds a whole extra dynamic to the fly. The fact that you have a little piece of grass tied in there just tickles me in a weird way. And like it looks really nice. And then I'll normally take my scissors and I'll cut that little back flap that I pulled backwards. Cut a little notch out of it. Sometimes can be easier said than done. Because most of their plates will have like a little indentation or notch. I'm sure this is more for myself and the fisherman than the fish, but I do like to do that. There we go. So there's a little indent. And the other nice thing about this that you can't do with the synthetic nearly as well. Like I said, it's fairly robust, but more than you think it would be. Like here's it's a rather nice piece. I don't really want to destroy it, but I got a whole bag full. But you can see, right? Like I don't know if you can hear that. It's almost like plastic. It's not as robust as the synthetic stuff, obviously, because that's an actual plastic. And it is a natural fiber, so you're going to get, you know, you're going to get cracks and dips and bobs and all sorts of things, thicker spots, thinner spots. So you can't really use the whole thing, per se. I'm just going to be adding a little bit of color here, because they have a lighter patch on the sides and some darker patches and stuff on the top. But I was going to say, that's the nicer thing about this stuff is it takes dye and markers exceedingly well. and keeps it. Yeah, you could. Yeah, it'll take UV2 really well because it'll soak into it. So just a little bit of brown Sharpie marker just kind of dulls it up a little bit. And to me, that's a money little nymph head. I almost don't really want to put an overwing on that now that I'm looking at it. Kind of like the way it looks like that. You know what? I think I might just leave it like that. I really like the way that looks. Just getting rid of some of these kind of crazy ones. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I quite like that. That's a nice little nymph. Let's get some half hitches on there. Find where I drop my half hitch tool. That's a much better sized head this time. Half hitch. Where's my whip finish? There we go. Yeah, I bet. That's the nice thing with tying a lot of traditional nymph slash bug patterns is a lot of these bugs either have a lot of them have if not the same species, a similar species elsewhere, and fish just key in on aquatic bugs. So but yeah, I like that guy. I'm gonna keep him just like that. I don't think I'm gonna put an overwing on him. Yeah, he's pretty good. I'm happy with that guy. That turned out pretty well. And again, you need burnt orange once you get the head cement on it because it melts the wax on the thread. It gives it this nice kind of dark burnt orange color with the head cement. Just drops that hue down like 3 or 4 notches, as you can tell on the camera there, and just matches in so well with nymph patterns because they all have that kind of darker glassy head on them. Really need to trim my brush on my nail polish. There we go. Alright, we'll give that a minute to dry. So that would be an October caddis, or Dark Caddis Pupa nymph of some variation that we threw together. I really like how it turned out though. I like the nice slight little orange puff of legs in there. The thorax cap, a little thorax top shell bit. Head turned out good. Yeah, overall just really happy with that one. I think the fish are gonna nail that guy. Kind of fun to do a little free form time like that too. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate that. Okay, I think the head's set up enough now we can pop it out. Yeah, I agree. I probably should do more freeform tying here, but that's very true. And even if I'm following a recipe, I mean, even if I'm following a recipe, we're still winging a lot of stuff, right? Like I don't have the exact right materials, like things have changed in the last 50, 100 years. I do try to get as close to traditional as I can. All good. Yeah, no, experimenting is like, that's half the battle, that's the fun part, right? I finished my tea up here. That's very true. I like watching people do jigs because you're right, you can just, whatever you got, throw it in there as a tail. You know, your body's going to be whatever chenille color pattern, you know, wool, whatever you got, you know, you can just wrap it up. You can use pretty much any hackle you want on it. It's a fun pattern for free forming stuff. You can come up with so many different color combinations, like head types. There you go. Our ground's frozen now, but I was out changing the winter tires on the truck yesterday morning or afternoonish. I guess around 11. Changing the tires on the truck, and just with me running the compressor, like the vibration, the worms just came out of the ground like crazy, right? But it surprised me because it was so cold out and the ground was frozen. Obviously not frozen enough, and they were thinking it was raining or whatever. With the compressor running by the truck, it was like vibrating the ground, and the worms were just coming out. It was kind of nuts. Should have got my camera. Sorry. Your goldfish comment made me laugh. I almost choked. That's something I haven't tied with in a while, is like booby eyes. Once I work through some of the rest of these patterns I want to do, then I'll... Yeah. I don't, well, obviously you can tell I tie a lot of traditional flies, but I also tie a lot of trash flies. They just don't end up on my streams. So maybe I should throw more of that in. Because my next favorite love next to traditional flies is trash flies. I love tying stuff from garbage. And like doing the exact opposite of what I do with these. Or the first time someone showed me I could use like a sandwich bag and cut it up into strips and use it for like the backs on scuds and stuff. And it like just blew my mind, just and like opened up all these different tying materials. I started just finding garbage and just ripping it up and seeing if I could tie flies with it. I did that for years. Let's change that song. It's a little too chunky for me right now. Okay. So I guess on that thing, what do you... I have a lot of materials. I think I'm just gonna do that. Let's just go with okay, actually, if we're gonna do some freestyle stuff, let's get a bigger hook in this vise then. That's a very good point, Dustin. I never thought about that, but you're so right. Yeah, tie this fly that's super good at catching fish, but oh, you can only get the material from my shop because it's special. Do I have a size 4 kicking around? One second. I was gonna do a size or 2 times long nymph and just kind of go with this idea that we were working on here. What kind of streamer do you want? Because I'd have to get material up. Do I have any streamer hooks? I think most of my streamer stuff's in my storage. Let me check and see if I got a streamer hook. I might have some size 2s that'll work. Here's some size 4 salmon flies. I think without digging in there, that's probably the best I got off the top of my head. I got some size 6 too. I just don't have any of my salmon stuff out because I've just been doing, you know, dry flies and nymphs and stuff right now. I got it all, it's just in storage. How do you open this kind of? Give me a sec. These would be like the type I'd tie like a blue charm on. Kind of wishing I had some of my mylar body stuff out, but that's all. I know where that is. That's all in storage. It's very true. Yeah. There we go. Okay, let's do some crazy color stuff here. You guys are gonna have to excuse me, and I'm gonna have to be digging in my drawers and that because I don't have any of this stuff ready. Let's do... Well, let's see what I got in the drawers first. Do some bright blue, some bright red. I want to go like steelhead colors. Oh, I got that nice burgundy too. So I can only get my drawers like halfway open because my camera's in the way, so I'm gonna be limited to what I can pull out of here. Come on, buddy. I want to get some yellow. It's way in the back though. That yellow. Ironically, I just had this out to get that orange hackle out like an hour ago, and I buried it in the bottom. Buddy. Hey, hold on, I gotta move my camera. I can't get this open enough. Yeah, I'll do up some kind of steelhead some. Hey, shark. Good to have you in, mate. Yeah, Ewaz is making me dig in all my stuff here and get some other stuff out. Yeah, you guys don't normally get to see that angle. We got here red. Okay, that'll work. Let's see what else we got down here. Let's go with some. Yeah, that'll work too. I can do that. No, it's not in focus, but you can see my like stack of. See if I can get it in focus. Stack of all the finished flies there that are going to be going out for giveaways and everything, and all the corks. Won't focus because the focal length's set for the fly, and I'm not changing that. Okay, there we go. I was looking for some gold that we can use for the body wraps because I don't have any mylar handy. I know all my mylars in my steelhead stuff, and that's put away. Yeah, I got a little bit of flash there. I'll just have to work with what I got handy. Alright, give me a sec here, I'll get this all back up. Okay, let's see if I can get this back into focus a bit. That looks okay. There you go, that's just for you, Ewaz. I don't normally do the request thing just because my materials are normally set up before we start, right? Okay, so I'm thinking for the tail, we're gonna do a nice tip and do a classic golden pheasant. We'll do a good golden pheasant tippet at the end. That's always freaking classic. I'm gonna need yeah, 8/0 black. That should 6. Yeah, 6/0. That'll work. We'll start with 6. Wow, this hook feels massive to me right now. Okay, we want to end that right between the hook and the barb like that, so that should be good. Okay, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna have to get a nice curved, see if I can find one that's curved in the right way. Okay, there's 3. Okay, this one I'll have to do. That one's not too bad. It's a bit of a switch for my brain to go from fuzzy vintage nymphs right to streamers, but we'll get there. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, we'll come back to him. I gotta get my tip tied in first here. Okay, do I have tip material kicking around? Well, that'll have to work. I think that's what I got. Please say you're medium. Yeah, you're small. Well, we're gonna try and see if I can do a nice tip with a small. Alright, so we're gonna try some uni and French and small. This will probably work better with medium, but size 4 is kind of right on the edge of where I can get away with small. It's a thinner shanked hook, so I should be okay with small. I'm going to tie this in for the length of the body here. And that does help keep the body smoother, so when I'm putting my gold wraps in, because I don't have my mylar handy, that should hopefully help keep the body nice and smooth. 3 or 4 wraps there, bring it back. Get that in, and then we're going to do a... I really like this yellow, and that's going to go really nice with the golden pheasant tail, so let's do that too. Actually, you know what? Let's do something totally different. If you got me off my rocker here, I may as well go right off my rocker and do something crazy. Let's grab something I haven't used in a while. have no idea if this will work for butt, but crazy blue. We're gonna go with that. This is a lot thinner than I thought it was gonna be. It's almost more of like a tinsel. Well, let's try it. Not gonna hurt nothing. It's pretty, I'll give it that. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I picked it up at the thrift store. I just was like, it's old. It's gotta be at least 70s, I think. Just judging by the... It's made in Pittsburgh. I think that company's out of business now, but just judging by the labeling, it's gotta be at least like 70s, maybe early 80s. Okay, so I'm going to... I'm gonna tie the tippet in first, and then we'll go back and get the butt tied in, and then we'll do the tail on top of the butt. And I'm actually gonna rotary this part too. There. No, it's not wooden. I do have quite a few that are wooden, but not that one. Come on, buddy. Stop sliding around on me. Yeah, I guess it's good for me to get out of my comfort zone box every once in a while. Just do something random. Yeah, tying like salmon steelhead flies is like candy for me. It's just all the materials are more expensive, and it's like the sugar-coated tie fly or fly tie. Yeah. It definitely takes a lot more patience, and I guess in the long run, it's a different skill set too. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Yeah, it was just my assumption based off the type of labeling. You don't see that. Everything's thermal printed now, and this one's actually like ink stamped. So generally that would date it back to 80s, 90s where it's ink stamped. Everything now is just, you know, one print off a thermal printer. That started like late 90s. Okay, so for this, where did my little piece go? Here we are. So there's a little tip I'll give you guys for tying in butts and tippets. I didn't do it for the tippet part, but I'm gonna do it for the butt. Yeah, I don't have any. Well, I shouldn't say I don't have any. I have like 5 or 6 feathers, and that's it. Actually, we'll tie this in the length here just to give us some more body buildup. But jungle cock, it's not illegal to own in Canada, but you can't sell it or acquire it unless it's already been in the country. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I don't need nearly this much for a butt. I'm gonna cut off a good strand here. So you're basically tying in 2. One you're gonna wrap back, and the other you're going to. And I normally tie my tie-in point just as long as I'm gonna be making the butt, so I just feel like making these a little bigger than normal just because I want that blue to show through, so we're going to make this about half a bobbin width longer than I normally would. Alright, so this guy here is going to get wrapped in after. I make him long enough to reach my material clip. Yay! Okay, stop tangling around my bobbin. Okay, so we're going to wrap this one. Bobbin's going to get over here and get a half hitch in it. And we're going to use the rotary. Might have some real fun with the wing here. If I dig open my fur box, I can get some like dyed got lots of different dyed polar bear would look really cool on this. Oh, come on now. Sec, I'm gonna have to get a hackle plier in play here because this is really thin. Oh yeah. It's almost like a micro tinsel wrapped around a thread, but it's like woven together, so it's a little different. I'm gonna do a quick back loop here. Back again. Kind of cross wrap and stop it from fraying as much. I don't think I've ever done a blue butt on anything before. Can't say I don't like the way it looks though. Oh no. Come on buddy, hold in there. There we go. Hopefully it's showing up on the camera. It's a nice kind of blue. Yeah, it is a little bit. Okay, so once you get your butt tied in, the main line kind of broke on me, but I think I got her tied in, so we should be good. So once you got your butt tied in, you bring the back one back here across the top and just lay it along the top and tie that in. I like to use my finger to kind of pin it down. Good deal. I'm glad it does. 3 wraps behind, 2 more in front. Traditional salmon fly / steelhead fly stuff is very exact. Like every thread wrap is counted. I'm not doing that today. Trying to be a little mindful, but not super mindful. So anyway, this back wrap that we did there, butts and tips are notorious for coming loose while they're being fished, because you're typically going to be fishing it in a stream or river or what have you, and they get banged around a good bit, and they'll the hooks are always have this, well, generally, traditionally anyway, have this black varnish on them, which makes them incredibly slippy. So there's a few things you can do. You can put a little bit of head cement on there. You can take a file. That works actually really well if you have like a hardened steel file. Just give it a couple quick runs, and that'll stop it from backing out nearly as bad. But a lot of times these will unspool and go down the hook. So by doing that back wrap that we did and tie it in along the top, you can't see it really, and even if you do, it's still the same color. Yeah, all the polar bear I have is actually locally sourced from a gentleman here that has a license to do it. Yeah, they do. Yeah. So that little overwrap there, because that's right where everything's going to get smoked, will hopefully help you get another fish or 2 out of it. But it definitely helps with the casting and it being twacked around a lot. Okay, so let's get our tail in. I'm just gonna wet it down a hair here just to see if we got, yeah, we do have a couple flippy fibers that we'll remove. Now this one isn't prepped or anything. Normally, if I was tying a bunch of these, I'd prep this around a glass bottle or cup. You basically just get them wet and put them on your bottle or cup, and then like the angle that you want them at. And then when they dry, they'll be perfectly angled. So we're just going to go with the natural angle on this one. That's going to have to do, because that's what we've got. But this one actually doesn't seem that bad, so we're going to go with that. I've seen a couple in my life, but they are terrifying. I don't want anything to do with them when I'm out in the bush and stuff. You gotta remember that's a really big animal, and the only reason it survives is because it's eating meat all the time. So it is literally a killing machine. I'm not afraid of black bears especially, or even grizzlies up here. Grizzlies are tanks too, don't get me wrong. But compared to a polar bear, grizzly will eat anything and survive. Polar bear only eats meat. Its whole job is to survive by killing things. And you are a tasty treat. Yeah, a lot of respect, but I'm not gonna mess with them. Alright, so we got our tippet tied in, nice and straight. That actually went pretty good for just grabbing some random bit out of the box. Yeah, that's true. It will actually hunt you. Okay, you got me in this mess, so you need to pick a color for me. I'm gonna do some colored butts on here, butt wraps, and that, and I need a color. So give me a color. Whatever your heart desires, mate. As long as I got a Sharpie, that color. This is a great use for this Christmas tinsel you get this time of year too, actually. It's a little too thick for other flies, but it works a treat for bodies on these things. And muddler minnows too, actually works pretty well. But otherwise it's normally a bit thick. Yeah, I'll be right back. I need to get a very old hat just for you, Iwas. I don't want you getting in trouble now, mate. Okay, so okay, I need a color, Iwas or Stardusted, don't care. So I got this old, very vintage hat, which I haven't torn apart for fly tying material yet. But it's got a beautiful. It's hard to even find this under marabou stuff anymore. That's this quality, so I'm going to, unfortunately, tear it up. A purple, bright purple. I don't know if I have a bright purple. Let me check. It's not a color I normally use, but we'll see. So I'm gonna grab a few. Oh. Metallic green. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is taking these ostrich pearls and coloring them with a marker. So we'll go with his first suggestion, which was a purple, because I don't have any metallic green marker stuff going on. But I'll see what I got. Yeah, I got these two. The light blue. Let me check down below here. I got a whole whack more. Ugh. Again, camera's in the way. Come on now. On this side? Yep, I can't get at them. They're at the back of the drawer. So, light blue, dark blue. Do I have a forest green? I got like an olive green. Oh no, I do have a brighter. No, not really. But I can do more than one, so got those. Yeah, we'll go with light blue for the tail, and then I'll do a green for the next one up, okay? Oh, I do that. Okay, we'll go with dark blue. So, pretty simple is we're just gonna run this over. I'm not gonna do this over the camera because it's wispy as all get out, and I just wanna not get it all over my fingers. One thing I've done before is you can get the tips and a hackle plier like that, and then you can do this. There, and you can make ostrich turtle whatever color your heart desires, as long as you get a marker for it. No worries. Running out of coffee is a horrible thing to happen. Ooh, that blue turned out like dark blue. That's okay. Ha! I've always wondered if that like ever hurt anyone if it just took off like that. I want to rub you so you're fluffy, but I don't want to get it all over my fingers. There you go. Oh no. Come on, buddy, just hold on for me. Let's try that again. That was my bad, I pulled on it too hard. Remember, this stuff's super fragile. I had some bigger, I don't have any to hand, I have to get in the back of my drawer. But like a longer ostrich turtle dyed up like this will work really well. I just don't have any right here. So we're using the smaller stuff. But for this, it'll work fine. Yeah, if I'm going to do like a green, I'd probably just throw in a peacock hackle, to be honest. Okay, now I gotta try and even this body out. And if we're gonna do a green one, say right in the middle here, and I'll do that in peacock. Give myself enough angle here to tie that in right without getting over top of that. I think that'll do. Okay, I got a big enough. Let's get some real nice. Let's get some nice peacock if we're gonna do that. Yeah, I'm just trying to find some nice puffy. Yeah, we'll grab out. I haven't done anything with polar bear in a long, good while here, so we'll grab some polar bear out once we get to that point. I normally do 3 collars on this. About the right spot. We'll go up a little more. I normally do 3 collars on this. We'll see. I might put another collar up front. We normally would be like 3 or 4 collars, but we're not doing anything traditional, so. Okay, so that one's gonna get tied off. Yeah, let's put a. Just gonna put a hackle plier on this just to hold it down from swinging around too much. I'll have to hand wrap this guy. Got the blue sticking out still. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'd like to do like a mylar body. Would be perfect for this. Let's go back. Got a little bit of a bit hanging out there. Didn't get that body quite as smooth as I probably should have. Hey Yoshi! Ewa's got me all messed up on some salmon flies today. Yeah, I think I'll do one. Ooh, don't get all tangled on me. Yeah, I like to do the Mylar tube bodies on these. They look very fishy. But all my Mylar stuff's in a box. Come on, buddy. Alright, never mind. Speaking of forgetting ribs, I gotta tie that. I know of a Boyd. I don't know if her name's Megan. Is that the one that owns a fly shop? Is it the one like with her husband? So the Boyds are fairly well known. I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking of though. Hey, Shark. I gotta throw this in Shark's box because he'll probably get some use out of it. Should be cutting that off, but I'm gonna behave, stay, stop. Yeah, if we're gonna do emerald forest green, we may as well just do peacock. Because it always looks awesome. Yeah, I probably should have cut the body wrap off, but I really don't want to. So we're just gonna keep going with it. Stop tangling. Okay, that's probably not the one I'm thinking of, but it may be. A lot of my older books here say like have Boyd in them, but you know I just assume it's a male. Really? Okay, no, I do think I know the one you're talking about then. And I do actually have some of her patterns in some of my books. Yeah, I didn't know it was a female for the longest time. That song's kind of annoying me. Let me skip it. There we go. I don't mind the nice relaxing music, but then I get too synthesized and it's just like, oh god. Stop. But I like parts of that song, so I keep it in there. Some days it's better than others. Okay, there we go. It's not the smoothest body in the world, but that'll do. Oh man, I got one big kink right there I didn't notice. Well, that's unfortunate. If I would have noticed that, I would have went back and fixed it. Right on the camera side too. That's the problem with doing live tying with the camera on the other side, is you don't see what, unless you're looking at the camera, you don't see what everyone else is seeing. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna do. What do we got here? We can use for cheeks. Cheeks will come later because I'm gonna have to do a beard. Let's do like a shocker red. Yeah, I didn't either. I was just catching the light wrong. Hey, so we got orange, we got red, we got blue, we got yellow. What do you guys want for the beard? Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like the tube mylar better. Is it? And if you go thinner, like this stuff's pretty thick, obviously. But if you go thinner, um, you can get more wraps on, like say, not necessarily a medium, but like a large, which would be in between the two. You can overwrap it. Stick with the blue? Okay, I can do that. If we're gonna stick with the blue, where did mine go here? Okay, I'm gonna try. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try some. I'm gonna try like a real light hackle on that. And then I'll put a beard on. Okay. Okay, I probably have someone for book stuff then. Yeah, just, you know, assumptions being assumptions. I thought it was a male. Okay, so we're gonna use this guy. I'm gonna do a very light couple wrap hackle on that. And then we'll do a beard and some cheeks. Yeah, I'm sure I have some of her books. Okay, we're gonna go with this beautiful blue. Just gonna do a real light hackle here, then we'll do a beard. Hoping I left myself enough room. Looks like I do. It's gonna be tight, but we'll make her work. I'm only looking for like 1 or 2 wraps just to give it. Just kind of a transition from the. Yeah, I really enjoy the history of it. Obviously, I dig into a lot of that. Come on, buddy. I want to lay back a bit. I might have to go this way. There we go. Yeah, I just want this to be just a light couple wraps, and then we'll put a beard on. This will end up getting kind of pushed down the wing. Oh, 1 second. Got caught on my thread. This will end up getting pushed down from the wing. It's not angling the way I want it to, but okay, that's it. I'll tie that off. Probably a hair denser than I wanted it, but let's go. We'll go with it. I have no idea what you're going to become, but we're going to name you the Ewa's Morning Coffee. Okay. Okay, there we are. Yeah, I just wanted to give it like a bit of a balance between the top and the bottom because we're going to be putting a big wing on and having a smaller one, so that'll give us, yeah, just some more directional stuff going on. Just seemed like a good idea at the time. I'll see if I'm right or not. I'm probably sleep deprived at the same time. Okay, let's go with some mallard. We're gonna go with some dyed mallard flank in blue. Trying to find a really nice bright colored. What do we got here? That one work? Yeah, you're pretty big. I'll go with you. Gotta remind myself to be mindful of my thread wraps because I have no idea what direction we're going. And I could be crowding myself out without knowing it. Okay, so for this guy, I kind of grab him like right about here. I'll strip all that off. That's just going to be a beard, so nothing crazy. But I wanted this kind of mottled blue in there. I think will go really good with that change in the blue on the tail. Let's do this upside down here. Let's make it a good sized beard too. Okay, so for cheeks, thank you. For cheeks, I'm thinking we either go with golden pheasant or red or orange, just to offset the blue. I'd like to throw some starling on this to give it like as a replacement for a jungle cock, because I do have that. So what do you think he was? Go with some nice large gold pheasant. Alright, you got her. I'm going to use one side to tie in one, and then that'll be our contrasting cheeks. Because I don't have any jungle cock. These are beautiful. That should work nice. Yeah, flip it over for you guys. Well, they're tied in. I don't know. It does kind of look like cheeks though. Yeah, they do actually look a lot like a gill pattern. See if I can get this cut off without making a huge mess of everything. Okay, save some thread wraps. We're not going to bind those in yet. This top is going to be kind of separated. I'll tie her wing in and call it good. Well, she's interesting. I'll give her that. Yeah, I think those colors will be bomber. Okay, let me get some polar bear out. Give me a minute. We also got kind of fire engine, fire orange, and chartreuse bucktail we can use. That's in here somewhere. I think yellow wouldn't really do it. Well, let's pull out a regular bucktail in case we go that direction. There it is. Way in the bottom here. I got this nice kind of blue-green, go with our blue-green theme, polar bear. See if I can find my white polar bear too. I'll throw a little bit of white shock on there. Badger. That's wolf, moose. Where did my other polar bear get to now? Sorry guys, take me a second. It might be in with my deer hair because of the size of it. There's lots of calf tail. Got some red. Oh, since we're talking about it, there's some seal. You can see the nice, like the translucent quality of the seal. The other thing with seal that you can kind of make out here a little bit is the skin's black, just like with polar bear. The actual skin is black. Actually, you can see it better on here. Right there. It's a dark colored skin. It loses some of the color when it gets tanned, but I'm gonna have to reorganize my fur bin after this because I haven't dig the whole thing out. There we go. Jeez. Okay. Here's a unopened bag of polar bear. I got several, but this is 18 bucks for 4 big chunks of polar bears. Really ain't bad. Yeah, you can see on this one too that the polar bear's hide is actually black, and they use that on purpose to keep themselves warm. So the main reason that you use polar bear hair is it has like a translucent quality. It's a lot like fiber optic cable, and it directs the sunlight, hits the hair, and it'll get soaked right up into their skin, which is black. And it also stops the reflection so they can hide better with camo. Yeah, that's a really old piece. That's got to be from, I don't know, that might even be from the 40s. But you can see this one's commercially bought polar bear locally from in town here, actually. Unique Fly Fishing Products is the gentleman's name. Unfortunately, he's closed down this year, so I managed to buy a bunch of his stock before he closed down at like 20% his market price. So I think I maybe paid $5 for this package. But yeah, we're gonna go with the blue there, and then I'll put a shuck of white. Should we do a white underwing or a blue underwing? No, I think I'm gonna go with a white. We'll do the white polar bear underwing, and then we'll go with a blue polar bear overwing. Hey Vala, actually Ewa's got me talked into doing some salmon streamers. Alright, so we'll get one nice chunk out of here. I think I got 4 in there. Yeah, I'll go with the white underwing. Yeah, it's an interesting fur. It's totally different than any other animal. Like it feels very almost like plastic. Yeah, it's hard to come by. Like I said, there was a gentleman here that had a license to sell it. That's local, thankfully, and I've gotten quite a bit of his stock before it completely is gone. But this underfur is a good replacement for seal dubbing. Not that it's any easier to get than seal dubbing, but the underfur makes great dry fly dubbing. So, just gonna see if we can get some here that's not too damaged from the cutting. Yeah, you can see how it's almost like monofilament, like it's interesting stuff. But it's meant to be like a monofilament. The sun will hit the fur and be directed right down to the animal's skin, and then he can stand out in the sun, look white, but actually be black, and absorb all the heat from the sun. It's a really cool setup. Some seals do the same thing, but polar bears are kind of unique that way. Okay, so I'm just trying to gauge the length we I don't want to waste more out of this strip than I need to. Not that it's a waste, but you know, I want to cut a large section if we can get away with cutting a small. Is the Canadian whiskey down there even made in Canada? Okay, so we'll do a shuck about like, I think about like there. We'll try and get it up to the tail. A lot of the Canadian whiskey's made in Alberta, so if you're drinking that, it's actually Canadian whiskey. It probably comes from Alberta. Like Canadian Club, Crown Royal, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that sounds like something from Alberta. Okay, and given since this stuff is so hard to come by, I'm going to be keeping the underfur here, and I'll mix that in with some dubbing. But yeah, I'm going to take the underfur out. So we don't need that for this fly, it's just going to muck it up. Oh, it's so tough. Ugh. Yeah, you can see how translucent it's very similar to snowshoe hair, like the rear foot, and using that for dry flies. It has a very similar quality to that, and seal fur. But it's kind of the traditional way of adding a little UV. It's like UV dubbing because it reflects the light so much. It's gonna take me a minute to get this cleaned up though. It's really tough stuff. But yeah, absolute honor to work with this stuff because you don't see it all the time. Yeah, of course. Hey, morning, Victoria. Good to have you in. Okay, so we're gonna do a little white underwing here. I'm just cleaning up this tie-in point. Oh man, when you cut this stuff, it's like, I don't know if it'll show up on there. Probably not. It's almost like glass fibers, like fiberglass. It's crazy. Okay, so we want this to be kind of curved up, so I'm gonna use that natural curve on the fur. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. That's annoying. I didn't have my thread in the right spot. Let's do that again. Really important when you tying this stuff in that you got your thread pre-done. I am going to add a little bit of rosin because I know this stuff is slippery as all get out. It'll hopefully give me a little more oomph. Yeah, I'd imagine it would be. I'm trying. Always has to be one hackle fiber that just. Oh, whatever, buddy. You're gonna get cut off. I'm not gonna mess around with you. The nice thing is it's slippy, but like it does grip at the same time. It's kind of hard to describe. It is a fur. Okay. Yeah, good to have you in, Victoria. Yeah, I gotta be careful with how much I do, because my head's getting pretty thick already. I think we'll be good with the overwing and then call it good. Okay, I've been saving this piece for years to tie a streamer fly with, so now's the time. I want to get some of this real nice blue. It doesn't really, I mean, I guess it depends on your... Yeah, this stuff's very much like that. It feels like I'm tying with monofilament. I'm gonna leave that bottom in here and just cut the top off this. So I can use that for dubbing or something later. Man, even cutting it, it sounds like, I wonder if I can get that close to the mic. $2. I've never stacked this stuff. I wonder if you can stack this. Just wonder if I should get like a nice tight wing on it, or if I should just go with... I think I'm just gonna go with the wispy. I'm gonna reposition these two. Yeah, I think we'll just go with the wispy blue. Call it good. Yeah, some good scissors will run you like, you know, 40, 60 bucks plus. I'm not a scissor hob or scissor snob, but I'll use pretty much anything. I like sharpening stuff, so I'll take a really cheap pair of scissors and just get it razor sharp, and that works well. But that's definitely not the norm. Yeah, moment of truth, this holds together or not. Oh. Woohoo! It didn't come apart. I mean, yeah, like look at this stuff. It's like a bristle brush. Cool. I'm gonna keep that and put it with the other stuff here. I'll cut it up and add it to some dubbing or something. Hey, now we gotta build that head up. That's gonna take a minute. Yeah, some people do super glue them when they tie them in like that. I'm gonna be gobbing the head with a bunch of Sally Hansons after, so kind of same difference. Could even throw some eyes on that. I think that's pretty good. I think I'll finish it down here by the eye, because I still got a good bit of room down there. Oh, there you go. That's an Ewa's morning coffee. Super traditional salmon fly that's been tied for eons by all the best anglers. As my whip finisher gets buried in all the stuff I got on my desk. There we go. It's gonna take me half an hour to get this all cleaned up. That's okay. It's all good. Woohoo, I get 3 internet points. And not just a viewer recommendation, but a kind of crazy viewer recommendation. There we go. Not that you're crazy, you was, but. Tell you what it was, hit me up. My email's in the description in my YouTube feed description. Just fly tying with Nimby at gmail.com. Hit me up with your address and I'll mail this to you. Yeah, I was gonna send it to Shark, but I mean, if Uwaz wants it, I'll send it out to him. This will be my last fly here today, guys, but I'll do up something else tomorrow. I gotta get the rest of the winter tires on the truck, and it's not actually raining today. I did it in the rain yesterday. Ugh. Yeah, you too. Yeah, hit me up, Uwaz. Send me your just so it's more private. Send it to me by email. Your mailing address, and I'll mail this out to you. I'll be doing some mailing the next day or so here. The Canadian mail system's finally kind of back to the way it should be, knock on wood, in time for the holidays. Yeah, it's gonna take a bit. Don't don't expect it in a day or two. Our mail system's on strike. Technically, they're off strike. They're into working rotational strikes right now, but the mail I've been sending lately has been taking like around a month or so to get down into the States. So, especially with all the everything else going on, the tariffs and the customs stuff and all that. So I'm gonna try and send it letter mail, and hopefully it'll just get through that way a little quicker. Well, there we go. That's an Ewa's morning coffee. I'm actually kind of happy how that turned out. That's turned out as well as it could have. So there you go. It's an Ewa's morning coffee with a polar bear white underwing and a blue overwing with a mallard flank beard, I think it was actually a cock in the rock blue dyed hackle, and golden pheasant cheeks, and a golden pheasant tail with a silver tip and a blue butt. About as crazy as you're gonna get. I almost want to put some eyeballs on it, but I think that glossy black classic head looks pretty good too. I like a nice bulbous black head on my salmon flies. I think I'll just mail it to you, mate. I'm not driving down that far. Sounds like you're probably close to, you in like Washington, Seattle then? Probably pretty close to K-fish, eh? I'm gonna keep spinning this one. It's got a lot of head cement on it, and I want it dry nice. Yeah, because K-fish is around that area, I'm assuming. He's below me to the south. Cool. Yeah, maybe you guys could meet up sometime. Yeah, for sure. I got a bunch of conehead packs I need to dig into to... I use them for muddlers and that kind of style streamer more than I use for salmon stuff, but it's nice because it adds a good bit of weight. Oh, doggo. My dog wants out. He's being a bit of a baby, though. I gotta dry this head, man. You gotta wait a minute. You wanna come up and say hi to everyone? Yeah, you wanna say hi without making a mess and knocking everything over? Come here. Come on, hop up. Come on, hop up. Come on, hop up. Say hi, come on, hop up. Come on. Say hi to everyone. Come here. There he is. That's my dog Rubble. Rubble Bubble. Hey? Yeah, how do you tell I got kids that were into Paw Patrol at the time? But yeah, hit me up, email Ewas, and I'll get that off in the mail to you. Yeah, that's my puppy. I haven't for a while, but I do. They're used pretty well up here too. More for bigger stuff though. Oh, you guys, I'm gonna call it here for today because I gotta get my dog out. He wants to go out pee, and I gotta get those tires on the truck. So, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the suggestions, Ewas. That was actually a lot of fun. I'm very happy for that. So, thanks for hanging out with me. Ewas, Wee Man, Stardusted, if you're still in there, I think you're gone now. Valhalla's still in there, thankfully. Yeah, you're going, buddy. We'll get to you in a sec here. I don't know if Victoria's still there. If she is, good to have you. I think I got everyone. Yoshi. Guys, have a good morning. Oh, Robert, you're back. Yeah, here, I'll spin it for you just so you can see before I go. That's the fly we made up for, Ewas. We're gonna call it the Ewas Morning Coffee. And that's a polar bear up top here. But yeah, you can check out the replay if you want. Don't eat my tails. Stop it. Okay, I'm gonna go for my dog eats all my bucktails. Alright, later guys. Have a good morning. Thanks for the fun and